Welcome back to No Sticks, No Bricks. In today's video, we're going to be unboxing, putting together, and testing and reviewing Vanpowers' latest e-bikes, the Cycanon. We've got two of them to put together. I'm going to put one together first off camera so I actually look like I know what I'm doing when I put the second one together so I can show y'all how to do it. First, let me show you how they come if you do order them from their website. All right, they got some nice boxes here. As you can see, we got one blue one and one green one, and that's to match our RV. Seem to be boxed pretty good together. Got some instructions on there. These boxes are a little bit heavy though, around 75 pounds, so you're gonna wanna make sure you have some help if you need it.
I was very impressed with these bikes were packaged coming from the factory. There was lots of foam padding, lots of zip ties, and there wasn't a scratch on either bike when they both arrived to us. The first thing you want to do after opening the box is cut all these zip ties off and remove the padding, then carefully lift out the main body of the bike. There is some assembly required, so let's get into it. I like to lay all the parts out in a row so it's just easier to identify. Of course, you have your seat with the seat post that's already attached, and then you got your front fender with the two prongs on each side. We're going to screw those in as well. And then, of course, you have the front tire with the brake disc, and we're going to be mounting that. And then there's the neck for the handlebar assembly to mount to. There is a little trick to mounting that, and we'll get into that here in a second. And look at this. It even came with touch-up paint. That's a pretty nice touch from Vanpowers. I wasn't even expecting that. Next up is the LCD display, which is going to display your speed, trip monitor, and some other functions we'll get into here in a few minutes. It comes with a bell also. That's kind of cool, so you can let people know that you're getting ready to pass them on a trail or whatever you want to use it for. Then, of course, you got your pedals, your left and your right, and they are marked L and R, which is good because the left side is actually reverse threaded as opposed to the right side, which is regular threaded. It does come with a handy-dandy little toolkit that's everything you need to put the bike together. And lastly, a charger. Let's take a look at the toolkit. It does come with a couple open-end wrenches, a screwdriver with a Phillips and flathead on either end, and then a holder for the screwdriver, and then as well as some Allen wrenches. One thing I did want to point out is when the bike comes from the factory, the headlight is reverse mounted in order to protect it during shipping, and you will have to remove it and flip it around and face it forward. That way it's actually shining light in the direction that you're going. So that is step one. So let's go ahead and remove this screw and nut so we can turn this light around, but we're not going to remount it quite yet because we're going to need our front fender because that's actually going to mount to this light and bracket when we flip it around. So now it's just a matter of lining up the fender bracket, the bracket that's on the bike, and the bracket that's on the light all together, and then reinstall the screw and nut. And this is what it will look like when you're all done. Next, we're going to remove this bar attached to the front forks by loosening these nuts, and then we can just simply throw it away because this is where the front tire is going to mount. You can also remove this little cover that came with your front tire. It's just to protect it during shipping. When you're getting ready to mount this front tire, make sure you do pay attention to which side the brake disc is on. It's going to go on the left side of the bike or the same side that your rear disc brake is on. Then just simply slide your front tire into the forks and make sure that the nut and washer on each side of the forks are on the outside of the spindle for the tire. And we'll get into that in here in a second. There are tabs on either side of the bike that must line up with the top hole to make sure that everything fits properly. So just be aware of that. It's pretty easy. You just flip the tab around and then line it up and then tighten up the nut. Once you have both nuts hand tightened and everything seems to fit right, go ahead and use the wrench to tighten up the nuts all the way. Now we can finish mounting the front fender by removing the existing screws and putting them through the holes and reattaching them. Next is the handlebar neck. You can remove this protective cover as well. This end will actually go into the frame of the bike and expand as you tighten the screw, so that way your handlebar neck is nice and tight. The first thing you need to do is open the latch, and this will expose the tightening screw. When you first mount the neck into the frame of the bike, you want to tighten the screw just a little bit. You don't want to over tighten it to where you can't move it, because later on you're going to want it loose so you can make your final adjustments to make sure everything is straight. Next, remove the screws holding the handlebar clamp to facilitate installation of your handlebars. Make sure your handlebars are in the correct position with the brake levers pointing out. Also, you'll notice a key dangling there from the cords. That's one key, and it also comes with a second key in the parts box. Make sure you install your handlebars evenly on both sides and then reinstall the top clamp to secure it. Now it's time to get everything lined up by positioning your handlebars straight forward with the frame of your bike, your front fender and tire, light, everything to make sure everything's nice and straight. You can then reopen your neck clamp, re-exposing the tightening screw, and tighten it down the rest of the way. The Cycanon does come with adjustable shocks, open or lock. If it's in the open position, you can see that there's a lot of shock absorbing going on for the bumps, and then if you flip it over to lock, then it becomes a much stiffer ride. Time for the pedals. As you can see, the left side, like I mentioned before, is reverse threaded, so just make sure you're putting the one marked L on the left. Once you get both pedals hand tight, go ahead and use the provided wrench to finish tightening them. It's time to install the seat. It's pretty straightforward. You just insert the shaft into the frame of the bike, but there is a collar that you can loosen or tighten. And now it's time to install the display. There is one thing I wanted to point out. With the display brackets, there is a grommet on each side that's made of rubber that you just want to keep track of because they will go around your handlebars. This is the most time-consuming part about putting this bike together. It is a little tricky to get everything lined up, mounting your display onto the handlebars, making sure the clamp goes around the two grommets I discussed earlier, as well as making sure everything is lined up the way you want it. Finally, mount your bell on either side. I have mounted mine on the left side, and then you can turn your display on. The switch is on the back of your gear shifter box here, and you just hold it down, and voila, there you go. As long as the battery is in the bike, it always has power. You don't need a key to have power. The key is just to remove the battery and reinstall the battery, and that's it. This is your pedal assist control center. 1 through 5 is what Vanpowers has on their bikes. And then if you hold down the plus sign, the top one, it will turn the light on and off. If you hold down the bottom one, the negative sign, then it'll put it in walking mode, and it just gives you a little bit of assist if you have to push the bike. Maybe you have a flat tire or something like that. Your taillight does flash and light up whenever your brake is applied, which is pretty nice. And then the front LED headlight is super bright. And there you go, guys. There's the finished product. Each bike took about 40 minutes to put together, but man, I am super impressed so far. These things are built very, very solid, and I can't wait to test them out. To remove the battery of the bike, it's super simple. Just insert the key and turn it to the left, and you'll see it pops open. You can actually charge this battery by itself on a port that's on the battery, or if you reinstall it and leave it on the bike, there is a port on the other side of the bike that you can plug the charger into.
All right, guys, it's a couple weeks later, actually. We're out here at the Quartzsite RV show in Quartzsite, Arizona. And we've actually been riding these bikes around and testing them out. And wow, we are super impressed. We love these bikes so far. I did want to go over a couple things that I didn't go over previously. And one of them is you can actually adjust the handlebars up and down with this right here. You just open it up and you can move it up and down. Same with the seat. I showed you that already. And of course it does have a throttle right here, so if you don't want to use pedal assist, you can use the throttle, or you can use pedal assist, 5 different modes. And let me show you how to get to that. Let's turn it on real quick. So there's the display. So you have a walking mode where you can walk with the bike and it'll give you a little bit of assist. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 and 5 are sport mode, 2 and 3 are your normal modes, and then 1 is your economy mode. We usually ride them in either 1 or 2, but they will get up and boogie when you get above that. If you hit the little information button right here. It'll cycle through the different options. You've got your trip, you've got your average, you've got your odometer reading for the bike, you got your time, how long you've been riding it, and then the amount of power that you got. Of course, I'm not riding it right now, so it's showing 0 watts, but that'll adjust as you ride. So we put 12.8 miles on it so far, and you can see we're still 4 out of 5, so that's pretty good. We did end up adding a few accessories. We put some mirrors on that we just got off Amazon. They'll be in our Amazon store if you're interested in getting these. We got these pretty nice phone holders here, and then we each put bags on our back rack, so we got a little cargo capacity. And then of course we have our bike alarms that we added. But yeah, check out this phone mount. This thing is solid. I'm liking this thing. And then of course I got my GoPro mount. So yeah, super impressed so far. I cannot wait till we get like Yosemite National Park and Zion National Park, and we're riding these bikes around. We'll get some great shots for you. Here's my beautiful wife. So what do you think of these new bikes so far?
I like them.
Yeah?
I like my color.
Yeah.
I like the step through part.
Definitely.
And it's pretty smooth ride at bigger tires.
Overall, it just seems super solid.
Yep, so far so good.
So far so good. Let's go for a ride. Now, let me throw up some specs on the screen for you and show you a few action shots.